views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
My name is Nunzio Del Greco. I am President and Chief Executive Officer of the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like everyone to please rise for the presentation of the colors by the explorers from the 49th Precinct.
Explorers, odds and hood! Forward, march!
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Order, color! Right face! Forward, march!
Please remain standing for the invocation by Sister Purification. Sister, can you please come up?
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting us to be part of this beautiful celebration. And we are Latino too, then we are part of the Latino heritage. And now we pray to the Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving us life, for giving us friends, for giving us family, for taking care of us every day. We want to celebrate this day with these Latino people, that they continue bringing good to this world with all their talents and all their knowledge and all their goodwills. And now I want to pray for the people in Puerto Rico and in Mexico that are suffering because of the weather, because of the earthquakes and hurricanes and everything. Dear Lord, bless them, comfort them, and give them all the strength they need to rebuild their countries. And we ask you to bless the food we are going to eat, and all the people over here, they continue working for a better world, and we are instruments of peace and love. Amen. And gracias a los latinos por estar aquí, y nada, a retar mucho por nuestros países para que sigan adelante.
Thank you. You can have your seats now. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our chairman of the board, Joe Kelleher. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Nunzio. I'd like to acknowledge some of our elected officials that I've seen coming in and out of the room. Tommy Messina, representing Congressman Crowley. Nicole Malatakis, who's, I know, candidate for mayor. Assemblyman Jose Rivera, well, I've seen Jose over here. Jose, thank you for being here. And of course, the infamous Assemblyman Mark Jonai is in the house. Mark, thank you so much for being here. I'd like to acknowledge Sister Purification, who just gave the invocation. I've been fortunate to spend a lot of time with sisters, and it's called the Sisters Servants of Mary. And what they basically do, they have help people who are sick in the evening when families can't take care of their loved ones and they don't really have the money to bring a nurse in. these sisters are nurses, and they actually go to people's homes for free. For free. They only ask that you pick them up if you can or provide transportation. And so when people can't stay up all night to care for a loved one, that's what they do. And sister, you do amazing work. This, a week from this Sunday, at the Marina Del Rey, they're having a nice little benefit. There are invitations around at the table. And if you can, or see it in your heart, to support them like they support all of us in the Bronx. Sister, I'd like to give you a round of applause. Thank you so much for you and your sisters and what you do. Just quickly on the chamber, this is our 8th annual Hispanic Heritage Luncheon, so we're very excited about the great turnout that we've had here today. The Bronx Chamber of Commerce is experiencing amazing growth under the leadership of Nunzio Del Greco, our CEO, who actually just had his hip replaced, and he says, I'm not going to miss the Hispanic Heritage Luncheon. So he just came out of the hospital and he's here. Nunzio, thank you for all you do. We have a lot of workshops, and this past year we've done a lot of seminars and workshops for small businesses and for our members, which has been very productive. We've been working with Senator Klein with the HIRE program. I think to date, according to the senator, we probably have created approximately 1,000 new jobs over the last 2.5 years for people in the Bronx, marrying them up with people who are looking for employees. We've worked also with Senator Klein and Assemblyman Mark Jonai on the 5th annual job fair at Bronx House, where they were hiring full-time and part-time entry-level positions. We have planned additional workshops, training programs, certification classes for those who want to better themselves in the workforce, and also for businesses who are interested in getting MWBE certifications. We are doing that, and a lot of our members have got certified, and as a result are getting opportunities to bid on contracts with city work. So we would encourage you to go to our website. We have all this information there, and please come to these seminars. They're free, and there's a wealth of information. I'm also excited to say that our membership has grown by over 25%. Just since January under the leadership of Nunzio. Nunzio, you did a great job bringing in those extra people, and we appreciate it. And of course, we have our business directory and resource guide, which Nunzio has been a big advocate of, and it's been very popular with people. So I would encourage people to get involved with that. I'd like to also mention that, you know, with the events that have happened with the weather, and I mean, how many places in the world have been affected by these hurricanes and storms, and it's so disheartening to hear this, and it's very distressing. And we have, I know there is a donation relief for Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the Caribbean islands. On your table, you'll find flyers, and it's important. Pick one of these up. If you can help in any small way, this relief is for Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the Caribbean islands, and that's headed up by Mark Jonai, Senator Klein, Michael Benedetto, and Joe Crowley. I would suggest that you get involved in that. And I got a call from Marlene Citron from the BOEDC with the borough president, and there's another flyer there where they're collecting batteries and flashlights and used clothing on Southern Boulevard for Saturday, and all of that, those supplies will be taken down to Puerto Rico and distributed. So if you can help out in any way, that would be fantastic. And lastly, I'd just like to congratulate all of the honorees. I'd like to particularly give a shout out to the 49th Precinct. I know Captain Elms is here today with his squad, and the 49th Precinct does such a great job. They do a great job with our community, working with our community and keeping us safe. And I think we should give them a round of applause. Thank you to the 49th Precinct. And lastly, the color guard that was here today, we're at the 9/11 Memorial dedication that we did at the Hutchinson Metro Center I think it was September 13th. And one of our honorees today, Norkiss, is here, and she brought all of her color guard. Actually came to open up that ceremony. Let's give them a round of applause for being here and being so professional. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies, Nunzio Del Greco. And again, congratulations to all of the celebrants here today.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to try to move the program along very quickly. So our first honoree is going to be introduced by Juan Diaz. Juan, if you could please come up to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying their lunch. My name again is Juan Diaz, and congratulations to everyone that's being honored this afternoon. I have the pleasure of introducing a great colleague of mine and an even better friend. His name is Carmelo Alvarado. Carmelo is a Vice President Relationship Manager within TD Bank's Commercial Lending Department. In his role, Carmelo provides financial services to business owners, helping them achieve both short and long-term goals. Carmelo started his banking career in 2001 and joined TD Bank, America's most convenient bank, in 2003 as a teller. Throughout his career at TD Bank, Carmelo has held various positions within the retail banking division, which is a testament to his work ethic and dedication. Carmelo is no stranger to the Bronx, having spent 11 years as an assistant manager and store manager, most recently managing our Fordham Road location. Carmelo grew up in Spanish Harlem and currently resides in Westchester with his wife and 2 children. He is an active volunteer, dedicating time to planting trees in our communities, cleaning up local parks, conducting financial literacy workshops, and coaching his son's youth basketball team. In his free time, Carmelo enjoys spending time with his family and playing golf. Congratulations, Carmelo. Please help me welcome Carmelo Alvarado.
Thank you. All right, I'm good. I would like to thank Nunzio, Joe Kelleher, the Bronx Chamber Board, and the entire staff for this recognition. Would also like to congratulate my fellow honorees on being recognized for their contributions to the communities they serve. Thank you to my colleagues for taking the time out of their busy day to support me here. Much appreciated. Respecting and honoring our human differences is part of TD Bank's DNA, but we take it one step further. We believe it's important to embrace our shared experiences too. We learned that diversity and inclusion enables each individual to achieve his or her full potential by helping us achieve our common mission of enriching our lives of our customers, colleagues, and communities. Small businesses play an integral role in our local economies, and TD Bank is committed to helping them grow and be successful. Just as small businesses are rooted in the community, so are we. TD Bank is a bank of local lenders making local loans. Our commitment to local decision-making ensures that the challenges and opportunities of each market are understood and considered. I was always taught that your actions and what you do day in and day out should speak for itself. Being Puerto Rican, it's hard for me to celebrate and really enjoy this moment when so many are fighting just to survive. Without basic amenities such as food, water, and shelter, things we take for granted. With that said, I would like to ask everyone, if you have not, to please support relief efforts for those impacted, not just in Puerto Rico, but in other areas that were impacted by these natural disasters. I have friends and colleagues with family members who have no idea if their loved ones are safe. So I urge everyone to donate, support, and please do whatever you can to assist. Thank you.
For our next honoree, I'd like to bring up my friend, Commissioner Joe Ramos. Yeah, just to mention, we will do a group shot with all the honorees at the end.
Thank you, Monsieur. You know, several years ago, I had the opportunity of working for the New York City Police Department. And in the New York City Police Department, one of the things that I was given the task of doing was to develop citizen participation programs. And being that I come from the New York City streets, PAL, I learned everything. But I was fortunate to have a lot of tutors to take me under their wing and to help me grow and to become the professional that I became. And I'm still trying to grow. But one of the things that I've always done, no matter where I've gone, is to develop programs for senior citizens, and now I surpassed that, and also for youth. And in the police department, one of the things that I wanted to do is to develop a role model image program. And within that role model image program, I copied the Boy Scouts and developed the Explorers in the New York City Police Department. And what better role models and images than police officers for our youth, particularly those who don't have any place to go and cannot afford private programs, for them to go and meet with someone who gave a damn and who could also teach them to become better citizens in the city of New York, and to give of themselves to their community, and to also participate in learning to respect and to provide service to everyone, no matter where you came from. And the person that I fell in love with here in this community, particularly as I jogged by the precinct that I helped inaugurate over on East Chester Avenue, which was the 49th precinct, there's one officer that I heard a lot about, and I really wanted to meet her, but they also told me that she was the advisor to the Explorer program. Officer Andino was appointed to the New York City Police Department on February 28th, 1994. She was assigned to the 30th precinct and assigned to patrol. In 1996, she worked at the Bronx Central Booking. On October 2005, she was assigned to the 49th precinct. She was assigned to patrol from 2005 to 2014. While on patrol, now listen to this, okay? Because you hear about all kinds of stereotypes, but you don't hear about these kinds of things. On September the 6th, she responded to an abandoned baby call. Officer Andino transferred the baby girl to Jacobi Hospital. After many visits, Officer Andino took an interest in the baby girl and continued to visit her every day. Officer Andino fell in love with her and soon after adopted the baby girl. Naming her Angelina, my angel from God. Angelina is now 10 years old and is healthy, happy, and loved unconditionally by Officer Andino and her family. Now here's another group. Here's another group that Officer Andino adopted. And it's the Explorer group of the 49th precinct. You know, sometimes as I jog by the precinct, I see Officer Andino getting into the van with her Explorers. Or if I jog by Pelham Parkway, I see Officer Andino together with people from Assemblyman Joe Nye's office, cleaning the Pelham Parkway area, doing community service. Well, on March of 2014, Officer Andino was assigned to the Explorer program. She presently has 30 explorers between the ages of 13 to 17 years old enrolled in her program. As the advisor of the Explorer program, Officer Andino provides supervision and guidance in community service, leadership training, first aid, volunteerism, teamwork, camping, and most important, respect and care for their community. Some of the service projects that she has included have not been limited to graffiti removal, the Pelham Parkway cleanup, volunteering at senior centers, in their intergenerational activities such as escorting, service at lunch programs, bingo, and holiday programs. They participate in the annual Cerebral Palsy Barbecue, annual Cancer Walk, the National Night Out, the Borough-wide Youth Harmony Day, to name a few. Officer Andino mentors her explorers in education. She attends parent and teachers conferences daily and makes home visits as needed to make sure that their explorers respect and help their parents. Officer Andino, Norkiss Andino, is a true dedicated individual who gives of herself unconditionally for the betterment of youth, family, and the community. By the way, I have to put this in. This program, the kids in this program do their own fundraising for their activities. Okay, constantly you see them selling cakes, you see them doing some types of activities where they get contributions. If you can think of, and you want to make a donation to this program, do so, because they can use every penny they can get so that they can get better cultural exposure, that go down to the theater district, etc. And not only that, but it helps them with their daily programs. And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Ms. Dorcas, Patrol Officer Dorcas Andino. Celebrating. We have to talk to the people here about these mics. Celebrating Hispanic heritage. It honors Officer Norkiss Andino. 49th Precinct, New York City Police Department, September 28th, for outstanding vision, dedication, and commitment to excellence, Bronx Chamber of Commerce. What's up? By the way, can the commanding officer and the executive officer of the 49th Precinct please come up? And can the explorers please come up? Come on, you guys, let's go.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the Bronx Chambers of Commerce, Joe Callagher, and Commissioner Ramos for honoring me. Thank you. Words can't describe how I feel right now. I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. I want to thank my captain, Captain Alps, not only for being my captain, but for being a friend to me and my explorers, and always being there for me when I need him, and when I come to him with ideas and everything. He's always pushing me, pushing my kids, and always has an open door policy for me and my kids to be there and talk to him at any time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to my lieutenant for always being there. Thank you to the community also that treats me and my kids with open arms and with love. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for my explorers. Who wasn't for you, I wouldn't be receiving this today. I love you guys. Thank you.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen?
Okay, for our next award recipient, I'd like to call up Vice President of Hostos Community College, Anna Martinez.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be here today to help recognize all the great work all of our honorees are doing in our community. After that presentation, there's a lot of love in this house today, and that's a wonderful thing. We need all the love we can get. For some 40 years, Nydia has served Hostos Community College and the community it serves by keeping our extended family connected and engaged. She was at Hostos virtually from the beginning and has been a huge part, a trailblazer at what Hostos has grown into as we mark our 50th anniversary. From organizing countless events to initiating the Alumni office and building it from the ground up, and now we have over 20,000 alums in our database thanks to her efforts, to helping launch the Hostos Circle of 100 Scholarship and Emergency Fund, raising much needed funding for our students, to launching dynamic programs like our Alumni Speakers Bureau. Nydia has served the college with grace and compassion, and that is hard to measure. All that with a trademark smile. As she prepares to officially retire, or she thinks she's retiring, in the next few days, I would like to thank her on behalf of the college and the president, President David Gomez, who wanted to be here today, but he was unable to make it, for showing every single day her passion for social justice and for education, and for the passion she shows every single day for the students that we serve. We actually are doing an amazing celebration for her and her life at Hostos Community College on October 21st, which will include a concert because she loves to dance. And we're going to honor her with a tribute to Pete Conde Rodriguez of Fania All-Stars. So we hope that you can join us on October 21st at Hostos Community College. I know that Nydia will continue to do all she can to support Hostos and her community because that is who she is. She gives back and she puts action to those words. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating our Hostos trailblazer, Nydia Edgecombe, on this well-deserved award. Felicidades.
I thank the Bronx Chamber of Commerce for this great recognition and for celebrating and recognizing my fellow honorees during Hispanic Heritage Month. The contributions of Latinos in general to these nations are immense. As one of the honorees, it is a great honor for me to represent Hostos Community College of the City University of New York, a noble institution turning 50 this coming year. I am glad to have my co-workers sharing this special moment with me. Tomorrow is my last day at Hostos after 40 years serving our students. What a great opportunity to serve, to learn, to grow, and to share my life with countless generations of students, now alums, professionals just like Luis Eladio Torres, an alum from Hostos Community College, a great principal, giving back to our society. This is what it's all about. I came to the United States in 1977 to New York, una jíbara de Orocovis, Puerto Rico, a countryside girl from Orocovis, Puerto Rico, a town that has been decimated by Nydia. For the last 2 weeks, my heart, my soul have been with the people of Puerto Rico. I dedicate this award to my family and the many other families going through such a difficult time in our island. Please don't forget us. Don't forget the people from Mexico. I happen to have been married in Mexico. Support Puerto Rico and donate to the Hispanic Federation. Pa'lante Puerto Rico, we will prevail. Thank you.
Before I make the next presentation, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Assemblywoman Nicole Malatakis. Would you please come up, because I know that you have a busy schedule and you need to get somewhere. So would you please come and address our, there we go.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you for giving me the opportunity just to say a few words before I go to my next stop. Thank you to Joe and Nunzio and the wonderful work that they do here at the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. It really is true. It's true when politicians say that small business is the engine. They are the engine of our economy. And yet, many don't actually, when they go to vote on legislation, act that way. But I'm very proud of the record I've had in the Assembly of supporting the small business community. The reality is that our businesses are being crippled by policies that are coming out of the city, state, and the federal government all at the same time. And then we need to make sure we engage organizations like the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, make sure they have a seat at the table. So government understands the actual impact. I'm the daughter of immigrants from Greece and Cuba. Si mi nombre es griega, pero también corre sangre cubana en mis venas. And I'm very, and my parents had a small business in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, when I was growing up. So I know the hardships that the small business community face each and every day. But we need to be mindful that we got to keep New York City as a beacon of hope and opportunity for others who want to be able to achieve those dreams of owning a home and starting a small business. And we can do that by partnering with chambers of commerce across our city and giving them a seat at the table when we come up with policy. Here in the city, unfortunately, we only have 5% of our city contracts going to women and minority businesses. And that's something we need to be mindful as we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here at the Chamber, is how do we work together to ensure we're giving more opportunities? Because only 3 or 4% of our Hispanic population are gaining access to those opportunities with the city. And I wanted to especially come by today to congratulate everyone, but particularly my friend Joe Ithier, who I had the honor of working with when we worked for Governor George Pataki together along with Maria Roman. And we've stayed friends ever since. He's really a wonderful person that you're congratulating and you're honoring today, and I'm very glad to be here to be part of that. The last thing I do want to say is I also echo everyone's comments about supporting our friends in Puerto Rico. It's very important. Yo tengo familia en Puerto Rico también in San Juan, and it is critical, the situation there, critical. And not only did they have that financial struggle beforehand, but now it is really something that is going to take a very, very long time and efforts from all over the country and the world to help Puerto Rico survive what has occurred there. I was fortunate to be able to locate my family. I know many others haven't, and so my prayers to them. I know that my colleague, Mark Jonai, is doing a collection with some of our other colleagues in the Assembly. We did one on Staten Island in Brooklyn with Felix Ortiz, but I urge you to donate to the ones here in the Bronx that they are doing. And I also have to say hello to my good friend, Jose Rivera, has been really wonderful and very supportive of my campaign for mayor. Thank you, Jose, for being here. Thank you, everyone, and congratulations on everything that you do. And Bronx Chamber, I'm looking forward to making you a partner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, it's funny because how do you read a bio with and say everything about this person in one paragraph. And you can't, no matter how much I tried. I brought the bio from 25 pages down to about 3, and I'm still missing a lot of information. And the reason for that is because I met this young man in 1985, here again, providing a service to the people in the South Bronx in trying to develop or reestablishing a PAL center, the Lynch PAL Center in the South Bronx at 156th Street. And at that time, he was representing Con Edison. But our relationship began then, but I didn't realize that we were gonna end up working together. And the more I worked with Joe, the more I learned about Joe. And the more I saw how much he gave of himself to the people of this community. A good example was on the 9/11, we were doing a campaign, and that was when Adolfo Carrion was running for borough president. And boy, was he getting beat that day. But we had a tragedy of the World Trade Center. And we went back to work. Immediately, Joey said, Joey, you know the police department, you deal with them, and I'll get the contributions. And we had trucks literally filled with equipment going from the Bronx, from all kinds of vendors, down to the World Trade Center. Not only that, but before the police officers from the borough of the Bronx were getting ready to go and provide service, Joe wanted to make sure that our police officers, after their day of duty, that they had something to eat. And we provided food for them at the 48th Precinct out in the block. We provided tents, and Joe was able to get the restaurants and people to contribute food so that they could eat and then go and try to rescue as many people as they could. But that was one of the little things that Joe did in the Bronx, and that was at 9/11. But Joe, Jose L. Ithier, I think his middle name is Luis, I don't know. But Joey is a native of and son of the Bronx, who has dedicated his career to the improvement of his community and quality of life of his residents. Through leadership roles in economic development, youth services, and arts and culture development, Joe has been a vocal and consistent advocate for the Bronx and its people, making important contributions to the borough's renewal. Joe began his community service since his youth as a counselor for the Metropolitan Baptist Camp in upstate New York. He returned to the South Bronx, created a youth committee on economic development. In 1973, he became involved with school dropouts with the New York City Youth Corps, where he worked getting them to return to school and helping them find jobs. His success led him to become the director of the South Bronx Youth Corps office. Joe's government service began in 1976 when he worked as coordinator for the member services of the New York State Assembly, becoming the first Puerto Rican staff member for the Speaker of the House and becoming an expert in legislative procedures and media relations. Subsequently, Joe became the director of Con Edison's public affairs efforts in the Bronx. Here, he was responsible for expanding community programs in the borough. He served as chairman of the board of trustees for the Bronx Museum of Arts and Citizen Advice Bureau. He was a member of the board of directors of Visions, the Bronx Urban League, Family Support Systems, member of the Save the Lynch PAL Committee, and here is where I met Joe in 1985. And by the way, the new center is located in Longfellow Avenue down in the Bronx, and it's called the Rainey Community Center now. He also made significant contributions to the arts and education in the borough, by serving as Bronx Commissioner of New York City Landmarks Commission and Vice President of the Hostos Community College Advisory Council. In 1987, Joe's extensive knowledge of the Bronx and his continued community spirit led him to join the staff of the Bronx Borough President Fernando Ferrer, where he served as Secretary and then Chief of Staff and Executive Assistant to the Bronx Borough President. It was during this time that Joe planted the seed for economic development in the Bronx. And don't let anybody else tell you differently. Many people are taking credit for that, and Joe was never given any credit for that. A good example of that is the development of the Baychester Co-op City and the development of Fordham Road area. In addition to making sure that we kept the businesses over at the Hunts Point Terminal Market. He was later appointed Director of Economic Development for the Borough of the Bronx by President Fernando Ferrer and served as President and member of the Board of Directors for the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation and the Bronx Initiative Corporation, among numerous affiliations. He also served as voting member of the New York State Empowerment Zone, a board member of the New York City Industrial Development Agency, the Regional Economic Development Assistance Corporation, the Port Morris Economic Development Corporation, the Hunts Point Economic Development Corporation, Envirosol Corporation, the Bronx Initiatives, Bronx Health Link, New York Economic Development Corporation, New York Industry Retention Network, the chairman of the first September, Saturday in October, Strategic Advisory Board. He was a member of the National Hispanic Congressional Caucus, National Hispanic Agenda, La Raza, the West Northeast Voter Education Group, and Democratic National Committee for Hispanic Caucuses. Jesus Christ. Joe was also a member of the Board of Directors of the New York State Dormitory Authority, representing the New York State Controller, Carl McCall. He worked on establishing the Bronx Superblock Courthouse on Hunts Point Meat Market Refrigeration Building. He also served on the boards of St. Barnabas, Lehman College of the Performing Arts in the Bronx. Come on, Joe, I'm almost getting there. Joe served as a Clinton Gore New York State Campaign Coordinator, Director of the Bronx Campaign for Mario Cuomo for Governor, Director of the Bronx Campaigns for David M. Dinkins, Mayor, and Coordinator of the Amigos de Pataki Campaign. Joe also worked with the Republican National Committee in New York, in the New York Convention. His dedication is evident in past productions of Martin Luther King Jr. program for Con Edison, the Lehman College, the Borough President's Puerto Rican Heritage Program, his involvement in the annual Bronx Week festivities, his chairmanship of the Bronx Tourism Council, and the Tour of the Bronx. That's the ones that, ride all over the Bronx and, with the bicycles. And now it houses close to several thousands of people that come to the Bronx just for the Tour of the Bronx. In November of 2001, New York State Governor George Pataki appointed Joe to work with the Empire State Development Corporation as the Executive Director of Community Network Offices. I'm getting there. An initiative of the legislature to open storefront offices throughout the city to serve the communities in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Washington Heights, Eastwood, and East Harlem. The offices were designed to help New York City businesses, merchants, community organizations gain better access to economic development resources. This was a 9/11 initiative. It was here where we were responsible for reintroducing banking businesses to the borough of the Bronx. The borough of the Bronx got redlined by all the banks. We brought in the Ridgewood Savings Bank, which you see now in the Bronx, the TD Bank, the Bank America, etc. We were cited by Cranes for the Bronx being the #1 city in the United States of America for the best development of minority and women-owned businesses, in addition to mentoring and redevelopment of the MWE programs that were conducted by the city and the state. His personal commitment to diverse efforts across the Bronx continued. It also goes without saying that Joe has long been committed to creating programs that enhance people's pride in themselves and in our borough, in the Bronx borough. Joe created his own company, El Partners. After retiring from the state, he did some consulting and for political candidates. He now serves as a consultant to the Red Apple Group, which is owned by John Casamatides. With Joe, please come up. Joe Ithier.
After that, all I can say is thank you very much to our chairperson, Joe, Nunzio. Thank you, an old dear friend. I will say that many years ago, when I took over economic development for the borough of the Bronx, and I ran all over the United States to promote the Bronx was burning. We had bad publicity. The only thing I kept hearing in Chicago, LA, in Dallas, all the places we traveled to talk about the Bronx was, what about your Bronx Chamber of Commerce? It was then that the Bronx Chamber had kind of taken a low, and I called Elias Carmen, may he rest in peace, and I said, we need the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. I cannot do this alone as the economic development czar that Fernando Ferrer had titled me. And they got a hold of that gentleman sitting back there, Nick Lugo, and they asked Nick to be the chair at that time and put it all back together again. I remember the years at Con Ed, I served on the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. And today, in 2017, going into 2018, I am so proud and honored that the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, it is at its strongest and its best under the leadership of Joe, Nunzio, Phil, and the whole group of people who put it together. So thank you for continuing that effort. To the honorees, some that I've known for many years, some that I've met recently, you continue the work that pioneers that we were, because I'm an elder statesman now, that I was part of those people who broke down the doors. It was not easy back then to fight to keep Hostos open and alive. To work with my godfather, my advisor, my friend, Jose Rivera. The revolution continues. It has not stopped. And we continue now to work to save our island of Puerto Rico. It is an honor to be with a friend of mine who was helpful in the borough of the Bronx, John Casamatides. Just yesterday, we donated over $10,000 to the effort in Puerto Rico and more to come from us. Jose, thank you for all you do, not only for us, but for Puerto Rico. Gracias, mi hermano. Seguimos en la lucha. Gracias to all of you at Hostos, because it was not easy to keep the college open. Thank you, Wally Edgecombe, for your dream of building that beautiful, gorgeous center for arts. Okay, thank you to all of you, and to Officer Andino, gracias por todo lo que tú haces por nuestra comunidad. Gracias to TD Bank, who came in here and stayed here and became. Gracias a mi hermana, Maria Roman, one of the founders of the Puerto Rican Day Parade, who's worked for, I think, every governor in the state of New York. And thank you to my friend Nicole Maviotakis, who I met working for Governor Pataki and has been a friend ever since and fights for the rights in Staten Island and Brooklyn. And most importantly, thank you to my love, Lisa. Thank you. For those of you who know, I had major surgery and I was out of commission with a tumor in my spine, and now we have something in common. And I didn't know if I would recover, if I would be back, if I was going to be in a wheelchair. Lisa was always there my sister, thank you. Thank you, Francis, for being there. My daughter, who I love dearly, our grandchildren, who play football. Thank you, Joe Ramos, for all you continue to do. So to me, it's an honor and a pleasure. I stopped taking awards, and this year I was honored by the police department with John Catsimatidis. Then I get this phone call, and for years I know Nunzio and Joe have been after me to be honored. And I think I'm being honored again. Is that the word I hear at the New York City Hispanic Chamber? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to sell tickets. So maybe this is the end for me, I don't know. But thank you to all of you who continue to fight and work for Puerto Rico and for El Condado de Bronx, the Bronx. Thank you very much.
Joe, you forgot something. This is in celebrating Hispanic heritage, honors Joe Ithier, consultant, Red Apple Group, September 28th, 2017, for outstanding vision, dedication, and commitment to excellence, Bronx Chamber of Commerce.
I'd like to acknowledge Nick Lugo from the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and also Mark Jaffe from the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for being here. Our next award recipient, I'd like to introduce Irene Amato from A.S.P. Mortgage to do the next presentation.
How do I even follow that? I don't even know. Good afternoon, everybody. I was handed, well, first I want to say, the Bronx is still the Bronx. I grew up, born and raised in the Bronx, and I've been to many events. This is my first time attending a Bronx Chamber, and I will continue to be a part of it. You can't find the heart, the soul, and the compassion that's in this room anywhere in the country. This is amazing, and the stories that I've just heard, Joe, like that's amazing, and everyone that's gotten their awards. I just sat here in awe and thinking that this type of energy is what's needed in the world right now. So I was given this sheet to talk about Dulce Nunez. She is a loan originator that came to work for me about 3 years ago. But I'm not going to read off that sheet, is that okay? Okay. So to describe Dulce, just think of the biggest heart, soul, dedication, and compassion that you could imagine in a human being. She is an inspiration to me, to our company, to other mothers. She's a working mom, and every time I walk in the office, she fills the office with such amazing energy and her smile, and nothing upsets her. I walk in the office, I could be having the worst day, and she says, "Mama, don't worry about it, Mama. Mama, everything's gonna be okay." So I look forward to going in to see her whenever I can. She's started her career in the loan, we're A.S.A.P mortgage, by the way, and she started her career as a loan originator. She started as a processor and wanted to learn the back office so she could explain every detail to her clients. She serves the Hispanic community. She has seminars about once a month on the weekends, explaining the process to her buyers. She spends hours on each client, making sure that they fully understand everything, and that's the reason she does it. And I say to her, you know, you gotta kind of try to slow that down to maybe make it an hour each client or 2 hours. No, you don't understand, I have to fully explain it. So she's just such an inspiration to everyone, and is one of the top producers in Westchester County right now as the Hispanic loan originator. So I'm more than proud to say, Dulce, come on.
Hello, everyone. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you very much, Chamber of Commerce. I want to recognize and all the other honorees too. It's very nice to be here with all of you. I'm sorry, I get very nervous in public. I started with Irene 3 years ago, and I really didn't know what I was getting into. And it turned out to be something completely different. I thought I was just gonna work and sell houses and that was it. But it hasn't turned out to be that way. I feel sometimes like a teacher. I spend hours sometimes at night. You gotta be here at night after 6 o'clock, no problem, I'll meet you. We'll come. I spend 2 hours explaining everything, how it works. And everybody's happy and they end up buying their homes. And I feel very good. I go to sleep with a very nice conscience, you know, and it's great. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I just want to say that thank you very much for everything. Thank you for the recognition. Thank you, Irene, for giving me the chance. And I hope to continue doing this for many years and helping a lot of more Hispanics. So, todos unidos, somos una voz. Doesn't matter where you come from. Thank you.
Okay, for our last but not least honoree, I'd like to introduce Bob Spada. Bob, can you come up, please, with the
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy and proud to be here. I got a call when I spoke with the next honoree yesterday. He honored me by asking me if I would speak on his behalf and introduce him. First of all, let me congratulate all of the honorees tonight or today, and let me speak briefly about the final honoree, Luis Eladio Torres. Now you have in front of you on the table, and you don't need to pick it up now, the brief bio that's part of the script that was delivered to me. So I ask for your indulgence. I'm going to just read you the first couple of sentences and then speak briefly about what I know of Luis Torres from personal experience as a friend and also former middle school principal in the city of New York. Luis Eladio Torres. It was unexpected. It was an unexpected road from naval petty officer to the principal's office, being responsible for turning PS 55, one of the lowest performing schools in the city of New York, in one of the finest schools in the city of New York. And I say that, thank you. You can read the rest, but now, if I can, and I know this mic is going to go off and on, so I'll use my cafeteria voice, if you don't mind, and speak personally about Louis. Most important, he is a model father, husband to a wonderful, wonderful wife, Joanne, and a fantastic model father to 3 beautiful and high-performing children, his son Isaiah, his daughter Autumn, and my favorite little girl, who's not so little anymore, Sienna. That alone should place Luis Torres at the top of the ladder as far as being honored here today. However, in addition to all of the things you're going to read in that brief bio, I have been very much honored over the years to attend most, if not all, of the honored occasions where Louis was honored. I'm going to speak about one in particular in a minute, but for those of you that don't know him, he was honored by the New York Daily News as one of the Daily News' hometown heroes. He's, please, yes, no small feat, and he deserves it as very much. However, The one memory I have is a memory of Louis a couple of years ago. And it goes to something I'm going to speak about very briefly, so you'll pardon me if I get on a pulpit. As a former New York City principal, I've always felt that we principals are 1,800 strong, probably, not probably, but the best educational leaders, not just in the nation, but in the world. As a matter of fact, we are held in the highest of esteem outside of New York City, in other states, and throughout the world. Unfortunately, many of the kudos that should go to New York City principals don't come from within New York City. That brings me to the occasion I alluded to. I was privileged a few years ago to be invited by Mr. Torres and his family to attend an occasion in San Francisco where Luis was honored as one of two, repeat, one of two people in the entire country considered to be the youngest, new, and outstanding educators of the nation. One was a One was a teacher who couldn't attend because he was doing something overseas. But the other, of course, was our own Eladio Torres. Louis spoke at the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco. 8,000 people, repeat, 8,000 educators from around the country and beyond listened with total emotion at Louis' presentation about his feeling in educating the whole child. And that goes beyond test scores and other data. That goes to Louis educating the entire child. Not only does he do it at PS 55, but he's got clinics inside his building. He is one of the first principals in the entire city of New York to establish what they call community schools. Those clinics not only serve the children in the schools, they serve the entire community of PS 55. Getting back to the Moscone Center, I was so proud of him. When he spoke, they all listened in awe, 8,000 strong, and then we walked from Moscone Center to the hotel. I felt like part of his entourage because I had to step aside. There were at least 50, and I'm not lying, 15 to 20 people constantly around him, asking him about PS 55, his, quote, oasis in the desert. And believe me, he was respected totally by everyone that was there, and I was honored to step back and watch all of the fans he got from outside of New York City, where he was held in high esteem. And I hope that one day, besides people here, and I thank the Chamber of Commerce of the Bronx for honoring Louis, but I hope one day New York City will appreciate this outstanding education leader that they have in, and please join me in acknowledging Eladio Torres.
Not only the hair, Bob, they love you too. I grew up on rap music, so it's nice to have me laugh so I can speak fast. But I had something prepared to say, but my history is in this room, which is amazing. It's amazing that there are different people in this room who have been part of my growth as a school leader. I became principal at the age of 34 of a school where the average teacher age was 42. I was the only Puerto Rican man to graduate from the New York City Leadership Academy the year I graduated. I was recognized, like Bob said, in 2011 as Outstanding Young Educator for the country, while my school was being viewed as a failing school. In this room, Nick Lugo, raise your hand. I always put him on the spot. As a kid, I played baseball in Nick Lugo's baseball league. I got to see him when he started his dry cleaner business, where he used to do the parades up Watson Avenue and all over Soundview. I played on Frank P. Diaz baseball. I thank you, Nick Lugo, for what you did for me as a child. Thank you. Then there's Nydia Edgecombe and Wally Edgecombe. As a young man, I went to the military, just so you know. At the age of 18, I joined the Navy. I served 10 years in the military, reserve and active duty. I'm Puerto Rican. I gave 10 years of my life to this country. And they can't get 1 minute of their 24 hours. Nydia Edgecombe took me under her wings and made sure that I finished Hostos Community College. Ithier, he's like a second dad to me. His son is like my brother. He adopted me, took me under his wing. He gave me a lot of advice. Thank you for all you've done for me. You know you're my family. You always have my back. You support me in good times and bad. When I was first trying to look for a job, Corp, back then when Michelle Centeno was president, helped me to find a job as a principal. Because I couldn't find a job. They helped me. My CSA family, who currently support me now, with my craziness, they always keep me out of trouble. Thank you for your work. So in this room, a lot of people touched me and had an impact in my life. I serve a community where education is the fifth priority. Fifth priority, not even the fourth, the fifth priority. Food, shelter, safety, health come before education. And some people don't understand that because we've been spoiled. Food, shelter, safety, and health come before education. And we can't even look at math and literacy until we take care of those 4 basic needs. And people don't understand that. So here as a Bronx Chamber, what we have to understand is that we have to work with our schools because the budget that is provided to the schools is there for the math and literacy, but the children need a lot more. They need a lot more. And I'm so happy that our chancellor has made an effort to create community schools because I've been doing this work for many years, but the work has to continue and has to grow even more. We have to make sure that we don't bury children anymore. We just had a child stabbed to death in a school. It has to stop. And it only comes when the community comes together like this and starts to invest in our schools. Together, we can end poverty. We can end it if we focus on it. I always tell people, I have 20 years to end poverty. That's my goal, 20 years. Because after 20 years, I think I'll be tired. I don't know if I'll be able to do it after 20 years, but my goal is in 20 years, poverty be ended. The only way we can do that is if everybody comes together, because there is no excuse for poverty to exist right now. Because it's been around too long. Puerto Rico is in my heart. All the islands are in my heart. There is no reason why we shouldn't have ships going over there with help. I served 10 years of my life for this country. Give me 1 minute. Let's do something. So I want to thank you all, and I apologize for getting emotional. I normally don't, but enough is enough. I can't even celebrate this day because I'm worried about my country, worried about my people. So thank you all, and sorry for the emotion.
At this time, I'd like to ask our CSA sisters and the other members of the entourage celebrating Louis today to come up here for a photo as I read another of the many, many plaques that Louis has received. Celebrating Hispanic heritage honors, that's the Chamber of Commerce celebrating it, honors Luis Eladio Torres, Principal, Community School 55, Bronx, on this day, September 28, 2017. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, we have so many beautiful and inspiring stories and excellent honorees today. Amazing synergy here in this room. I'd like to thank everyone for attending our event, and I'd also like to acknowledge my staff, Phil Cardone, Sasha Rivera, Miriam, and Jesse Mendoza. Thank you for all your help, and I hope that you think about membership in our Bronx Chamber of Commerce. It's a great organization, and we're putting together our 2018 Bronx Business Directory. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day.